What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of X's and O's for the Average Joes. This your host, Coach Gonzo. And before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit that bell so you know every time one of my videos go live. You ready? Let's get it. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So here we have the defensive number system, which is much like the offense. The only difference is it doesn't have an odd or an even side. It's pretty much square across the board. Alright, so we're going to start off with the center, which is the circle in the middle of your screen with the cross on it. And that'll be your 0 and your 1 techniques. Your 0 is basically a head up right on the center smash mouth football. And then you have your 1 techniques, which are off to either side. Next up, we have the 2 inside, the 2, and the 3. Much like the 0 and the 1 techniques, it's basically just where you line up off that guard. Now we have the 4 inside, the 4, and the 5 technique, which once again, similar to the previous 2 we talked about. And then we have the 7, the 6, and the 9 technique. And those, once again, are just the same as the ones we spoke about previously, only at a much wider angle. So as you'll see, it's the same thing going for the next 3 linemen off to the other side of the center. Now we'll go over the defense linebacker blitz assignments. In between the center and the guards, we have the A-gaps. These are the blitz assignments for the linebackers if they're going to be hitting this gap. Then we have the B gaps, which is in between the guards and the tackles. And what you have here, you'll normally see in these, you'll see a crossfire, a looping blitz. Those are usually what you'll see going through these B gaps. Next up, we have the C gaps. These are more of your fire zones and your stunt blitzes, things of that nature. And then you have your D's and outward, which these are more of your cornerback blitzes, your bandits, or just anything coming off the edge. So a little bit of research, a little bit of wordplay. The numbers are the same to either side, unlike offense, which I mentioned, that has the odd and the even sides. The letters are meant for the linebackers for blitz assignment. And this system helps linemen understand where they got to go. It's that simple, folks. Let's get to the next slide. Alright, so now we're going to get into a little bit of the defensive formations that you'll see on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. A very popular formation that you'll see on these days is the 4-3 front, as well as the nickel, which we'll go over later. Up here on the screen, you will see that this is a 4-3 normal alignment. And again, on the side, you'll see is really common at most levels, so high school, college, and the pros, and it consists mainly of a normal, an over, and an under front. So right here in the normal, what you'll have is you'll have your 2 defensive tackles lined up in a 3 and a 1 technique, and then you'll have your 2 ends in a 7 and a 9. Normally, you'll see this line up to the strength. And this is just to have a balanced look on the line, and you'll usually use this against a running formation. So I form, single back, and things of that nature. So now we have the 4-3 under front. This is primarily used as a run stopping defense. Your line usually shifts to the weak side while your linebackers usually shift over to the strength. As you can see, you have the line shifted over to the right, which would be the weak side, and you have your linebacker shifted to the left, but you can see with the Sam lined up off the outside shoulder of the tight end. To really differentiate this formation from the other ones, you really need to look at the inside tackles. So the inside number 1 and the other in the number 3 technique. And this is a real sound defense used by many teams for the run stuff. You'll see guys in this 3 technique like Sue, like Snacks Harrison, who was recently traded to the Detroit Lions. This is a real run stuffing formation and one of my favorites, not only to see on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays, but also to use in Madden, if any of you guys play that. Here's a nice little example of a 4-3 under look. This game is the Carolina Panthers and your Philadelphia Eagles. So as you can see, you have the 5 technique lined up nice and wide. You have the 1, you have the 3, and you have that 9 technique. And as you can see, you have your Sam linebacker shifted over, and he's playing inside of Goldberg. Might be butchering his name, but as you can see, he's over there lined up to that side, to the tight end side, and he's in the inside shade, which is not uncommon to see. But here's a great example of a 4-3 under front for you guys to take a look at. Now we have the 4-3 over, another variation of the 4-3 formation, where this setup is where your line shifts over to the strength and your linebackers shift over to the weak side. This is another primarily run stuffing defense, an ability to put more people in the box, and you'll usually see this against more traditional run formations like the I formation, single back tight end, and those kind of personnels. So as you can see, you can differentiate the formation once again by looking at those inside tackles. As you can see, they're shifted over now in a 3 and a 1 technique to the opposite end. So again, you'll see guys like Sue, Snacks Harrison, Aaron Donald, big name guys, usually nice heavy guys in these formations to stop the run. And as you can see, your Willie linebacker is off to the right side of your screen, and you would think in this aspect he's really covering nothing, but he's a great asset to the counterplay out of these formations and the bootlegs from the quarterbacks, and he's really a free player. He could be playing man off of the backfield. He can really drop off into coverage. This is a really great formation, very versatile, and again, another formation used on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And we'll go into a nice little example for you on the next slide. As you can see, this is your Dallas Cowboys and your New York Giants. This is one crazy formation, and again a run heavy formation at that, when you have 2 tight ends off to the left side of the screen. But once again, you can see the setup of the over. You have the 9, you have the 3, you have the 1, and then you have the 5. And once again, you have that Willie off to the outside of those offensive players, off to the outside, and again a great run stuffing defense. Alright guys, so now we have the defensive nickel formation, a defense that is ever so popular to combat the high-powered offensive attack of the sport today. This is done by utilizing a 5th cornerback, or what I refer to as the bandit. This set is used to combat a team that comes out in a 3-wide set, usually with a 3rd wide receiver or a dynamic tight end like that of New England with Gronkowski, or a Green Bay Packers with a Jimmy Graham, even the New York Giants with a guy like Ingram. The list can go on, with so many great tight ends in this league that are used in such great ways like they weren't used before. This set is great against the pass, but let's be real, it is still susceptible to the run game for the lack of that 3rd linebacker. But then again, on a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, 2nd and forever, nobody's really looking for that run play. And this is what this formation is known for: pass defense. So here we have a nice little defensive example diagram so you guys can see what it looks like pre-snap. And this is your nickel defense. You have your 9 technique, your 1 technique, your 3 technique, and your 7. And if you can see that 28 to the left side of the screen right there, that's your nickel corner. Alright, this is what people come out in on game day whenever they got to stop that pass. You bring in that 5th corner and you lock down on that pass game and make sure that those ends are getting to that quarterback, closing up windows, taking away throws, and ultimately making great plays. Guys, like always, if you like what you see, hit a like, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell so you know every time a video goes live. Thank you guys for watching another episode of X's and O's for Average Joes. This your host, Coach Gonzo. And make sure to drop a comment. Any feedback is great feedback. See you guys next time. We out.